Good afternoon and welcome to the Chartreuse Leprechaun. My name is Mark, your host, and it's time for that monthly-ish update. We've actually made it back to doing this mid-month like I started out and really wanted to get back to, so yay for us. We're winning. Okay, well, there's a fair bit of stuff to unpack this month, so first things first, channel news. On the technical side, we're getting there. We are getting there. As you can see, I'm starting to get the camera thing figured out. The color isn't so washed out. The glare is reduced. There's still a lot of room for improvement, obviously, but we're getting there. We're working on it, and we're gaining ground. So, again, yay us. But the big news. Next week is our one-year anniversary. April 23rd, 2020, we published our first episode of Subnautica. Hard to believe that's been a year. Now, Friday, or April 23rd this year is a Friday, and we're not changing our Friday schedule. We will have our normal Fallout 4 episode that day. But Saturday, that's our random game day, for now at least. So we'll be doing a special show, and it will probably be an hour long, maybe more, maybe less. The goal is an hour. We'll see. We may have a guest. We may have more guests. Maybe not. Still working on scheduling, but it's looking promising. And since it's just a week away, I'm going to go ahead and announce the game we'll be playing. It's called Fireworks Mania. It's a game that was fully released on Steam in December 2020, so it's fairly recent. It was in development on Steam for a year, and according to the dev blog, was in creation for about a year before that. Now, as described on Steam, Fireworks Mania is, and I quote, a small, casual, explosive simulator game where you play around with fireworks, create beautiful fireworks shows, or just blow stuff up. I like that description. If you've been watching me play Besiege, you know how much I like figuring out how to destroy stuff. So this game's right up my alley. I actually got this game with this specific show in mind. I was trying to think of something like Sinking Simulator that we did last Father's Day, and while doing some random surfing on Steam, I saw one of the trailers for this particular game that shows a house getting blown up by fireworks. I was sold immediately. Now, fair warning, just like Besiege, I'm going to be playing this game blind. Other than the Steam trailers, I have no idea how this game works. We're just going to dive right in and see what happens, so be sure to tune in. If nothing else, it'll be amusing. Very amusing, I suspect. So, exciting times on the channel. Exciting times. Unfortunately, the personal news is not so exciting. In fact, it's terrible. As I said last time, the current diagnosis is task-specific dystonia. And I got that diagnosis without much time to research it before announcing it on the last update video, so let's unpack that a little bit. I'm going to paraphrase some descriptions I found online at the National Institutes of Health. And I'm going to read this because dystonia is a movement disorder where sustained or repetitive muscle contractions result in twisting and repetitive movements or abnormal fixed postures. The movements may resemble a tremor. It is usually made worse by physical activity, and symptoms can spread to adjacent muscle groups. Isn't that exciting news? Now, task-specific dystonia is a movement disorder that interferes with the performance of particular tasks. This disorder is prevalent among writers, musicians, dancers, and athletes. Now, that's bad because I am a writer and a musician. Now that we know all this, it's time for the really sucky part. As I said, I scanned through a bunch of stuff at the National Institutes of Health. The most recent paper I read was from 2018. Now, there may be more recent stuff, but that was the most recent thing I read. And it said, and I quote, "No current treatment is predictably effective, and the disorder generally ends the careers of affected individuals." Yeah, that actually does mean it's probably not recoverable. And since my doctor believes it's due to nerve damage from long-term entrapments at the wrist, elbow, and shoulder, and probably still the neck, medically, that most likely does mean not recoverable. So, unless something changes with this diagnosis, or there's an act of God, my efforts to get better and get back to some sort of normal job are pretty much over. So what does that mean for the channel? Well, for now it means no changes. Because of the diagnosis and the difficulty typing and all of that, Saturdays will continue to be random games instead of Leprechaun stories. If you follow this journey, you know I've used typing up the stories and all of that as attempted therapy, trying to see if I can get better by doing stuff, using muscles and all of that. Well, in actual fact, using the muscles for all that hasn't helped, may have made it worse, and isn't likely to get better. Bottom line, all that typing is a bad thing, which just flat sucks on multiple levels. I like telling the Leprechaun stories, and I will keep that up on the Friday series, but in all likelihood I will not be returning to it on Saturdays. Also, I'm in process of neck surgery. The shooting pain in my shoulder and arm have become bad enough that medication isn't getting it. And I'm starting to get radiating stuff in my right shoulder and hand too. You can tell from the pillow I've got behind me to support my neck in this chair that it's not good. So I will have to work up some extra videos just to throw on the site after they do the surgery, like I did in December and January after carpal tunnel syndrome when I put up those 2 mini-series for this war of mine, Father's Promise and The Little Ones. Not sure what game I'll use this time though. Please go through my game list and give me some game ideas. A short series, guessing 3 or 4 episodes, a little longer is okay too. The list of games I have access to on Steam, the combined libraries of myself and my 2 sons, is linked in the description below. Go through it and give me any ideas you see. All that said, this changes nothing about my faith. It's a gut punch for sure, but my faith is not based on whether or not I get healed, whether or not I'm rich, whether or not well, insert whatever you want there. That's, just insert what you want. Much like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the book of Daniel, I only bow to my God. Whether I get delivered, healed, or not does not change that He alone is God. If you're following some religious doctrine you think will get you healed, or rich, or recognized, or whatever, God is not your actual God. Comfort, convenience, and pride, those are your gods. And you need to repent and surrender to Him. It's really as simple as that. And I say all that having experienced hands laid on in prayer and being healed from both sides. I know it's a real thing. My first experience was back in 1989. I was working in a homeless shelter, God's Hill Ministries in Livingston, Texas. The building we had was a small warehouse type thing. It was empty. Almost empty. The only thing in it was a small office and front room. Everything else was just empty space. There was a church downtown that had a house built in, I think, 1910, custom built. The guy who built it owned the lumberyard that cut all the wood. They wanted it torn down so they could put up a parking lot, and we got to tear it down and use all the materials for construction or sell what we could to raise cash. One day on the work site, I had a really long 2x4 on my shoulder. I was carrying it to the dumpster, and it started sliding off my shoulder, and I ducked out from under it, and whatever I did, it buried a big old splinter in my shoulder. There was a chunk of it sticking out. The chunk I got out was as long as the palm of my hand. It was like this, that long. And to be clear, that's the part that was sticking out. There was, maybe, I don't know how much of it was sticking in there, but it was not that big. It was just a big piece of wood. And because it was so big, I pulled it out. Well, I didn't get all of it out. And the doctor I went to was kind of mad at me because I took it out without coming to see him first so he could see exactly where it was all at and all of that. But he cut it out, and I didn't see how big the piece was he cut out. It could have been small. It could have been relatively big. I don't honestly know. I know he put in 1, maybe 2 stitches. I don't remember for sure at this point. It's been a lot of years. But I remember it hurt. Oh my God, it hurt. He prescribed antibiotics and pain pills, but it hurt going into his office. It hurt just as much coming out. It hurt to move. I mean, he stuck an injection in there so he could do the stitches and all that, and it still hurt. Oh, it hurt a lot. And this happened on a Thursday, and by Sunday, it was not better. I remember having a dream Saturday night about a particular person being in church, laying hands on me, and me being healed. And I walked into church, and that person wasn't there, and I was in it. I'll be honest, the dream was so real that I assumed it, and they weren't there, and I just kind of deflated, I guess is the way to put it. But close to the end of the service, that person walked in, and after service, I asked for prayer, and yes, that person did pray for me, and I was immediately pain-free. And yeah, I was back on the job site on Monday, and no problem. I mean, immediately pain-free. It was awesome. Another time I was at a small group meeting, and now this is from the other side. This is me witnessing something. Someone had ringing in their ears so bad that they were wearing patches. And they asked for prayer. One of the people praying for did something unusual. They just, out of the blue, they just kind of leaned over, blew in her ear, and said, "Be healed." And her eyes popped open, big as saucers. That's the only way I know how to describe it. And she whispered, "I can hear." And it wasn't a whisper type whisper. It was that, "I'm so surprised I can barely talk" kind of whispers. And she had this look on her face, the "I don't know what to do. I'm so happy. I don't know what to do" look. That, when you get really surprised by something good. Yeah, she had that look on her face all night long. Now, in her case, do I know that she was medically diagnosed as healed? I don't. But I know that experience has taught me that it's really hard to fake that reaction that thoroughly and for that long. Do I know why one person gets healed in prayer and another doesn't? No, I don't. You need to go ask God. That's, as the saying goes, that's above my pay grade. Do I know that God heals? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Do I trust God even if he does not heal? Same answer. Absolutely. Oh, yes, absolutely. Do I know why this is going on and I'm not getting healed? I have no clue. Could it be unrepented sin? Sure. Could it be unforgiveness, unbelief, whatever? Sure. Do I know? Nope. Could it be just stupid stuff I did over the years finally caught up to me? Sure. Could it be God testing me over a long period of time like Job? Yeah. Possible. Do I know? Nope. Does it change my faith at all? Absolutely not. What I do know is God has shown himself good in so many ways since 1987. I know I can trust him to be good, and that all of this is going to work for good in my life and in the lives of others. I know this from experience. 30 years, 33, 4 years, whatever it is now. That's the trust that comes with surrender to him. To him, the one true living God, who paid the penalty for your sin and mine by dying on a cross, who rose from the dead 3 days later and now holds all authority in heaven and earth. And the only way to get that hope, that commitment and life from him is to acknowledge your sin, repent of it, and surrender to him. If you have not done that, however incompletely, and I acknowledge that people do it to different degrees, but if you have not surrendered to him, acknowledged your sin, surrendered to him, and are trying to repent of your sin, you are not his. And when you die in this life, you will spend eternity separated from him. Being his is not about saying some prayer at a church service. It's about giving him full authority over your life. What is right, what is wrong, your dreams, your hopes, your fears, your relationships, your everything. It's about accepting the truth of who he is and surrendering yourself to his authority. That's what Jesus died and shed his blood for, to open the door for you to be reconciled with God. So the question is, are you surrendered to him? Have you reconciled with God yet? You need to. And with that, I want to thank you for your time today. Your time is valuable, and you chose to spend it with us here at the Chartreuse Leprechaun. We really are grateful. We'd love to hear from you. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you like, what you don't like, what you think, what you want to see, game ideas, especially game suggestions. As I said earlier, we'll need a short series on tap for a few weeks to replace Leprechaun stories after surgery. So I've got a list of all the games I have access to on Steam linked in the description below, so check it out. But we'll take whatever feedback you want to give us because we want to get better, and that takes input from you. Also, please subscribe. Set yourself up for notifications, and so you don't miss anything. Check out our merch page. And with that, I will let you go. But always, always, always remember, if you see it and you can't quite explain it, you can be sure the leprechaun did it. Now you have yourselves a great day, a great week, and we will see you here next time on the Chartreuse Leprechaun. Bye-bye.